If you were starting a solo podcast today, how would your setup be any different than when it was when you first started your podcast? It's a question that I get a lot, and I know that solo podcasts are a hot topic on this channel, so we're going to talk all about it today. So let's get right to it. Hey y'all, Crystal here today, and we are talking to solo podcasters. So I first started my podcast journey. I created The Rookie Life, which was my very first podcast, which was mostly an interview show for the first 10, 15, 20 episodes. I was just like, I'm going to talk to other people because that makes my life easier and it'll just be easier for me to do. And then I kind of ventured into solo podcasting, which has just been life-changing and it's amazing and I love it so much. So today I want to help those of you that are thinking about starting a solo podcast or maybe incorporating solo episodes into the mix, a few things that I wish I would have known whenever I was first getting started. So the first thing that we have to talk about, and I feel like it's the obvious thing here, solo podcasting is a little awkward, okay? Let's just get it all out on the table. It's a little awkward when you're in a room by yourself, essentially talking to yourself. That's really what it is, right? You have to use your imagination. You have to pretend you're talking to a specific audience member or maybe a certain subset of your audience or just anyone else in general, but typically you're in a room 100% by yourself with you and your microphone. So what I think is really awesome about solo podcast is you get to have that creative freedom to do whatever you want in the episode, but it also feels super awkward. So if you are starting today, you're about to get going with your solo podcast journey, my advice to you is just to embrace that awkwardness. Know that it's coming. It's not going to be a surprise anymore because I just told you. It happens to everybody. It's super awkward. It's super weird. And the best thing that I can tell you to get over that quickly is to record yourself and listen back. Record yourself, listen back. Record yourself and listen back until you finally feel comfortable with the cadence of your voice and how you speak, or you start to feel more comfortable just behind the microphone. I know for me, and I always use this reference because it's just amazing. Elf is the best movie ever made. Can we all agree on that? Yeah, okay, I know. It's amazing. I love Elf. But I always think about whenever they talk about, you can't sing, and he's like, I'm in a store and I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing. Okay, I will spare y'all. I know I cannot sing, but it's what it feels like. You're on stage and you're just singing. You're talking. We should say that. Let me go back. We're not singing, okay? You don't want me to sing anymore, I promise. What I just gave you was enough to last a lifetime. But I think it's really important that you start to feel comfortable because it's awkward. And the only way to get comfortable doing this is to keep doing it over and over and over again until you can finally separate your voice from who you are. Because this is the second thing I want to talk about. We talked about it being awkward. The other thing is a lot of solo podcasters will come to me and say, my voice is really awkward. My voice is, I have an accent. I'm too loud. I'm too soft-spoken. I stumble over my words. I have a stutter or another type of speech impediment. I've heard it all. I talk to thousands of podcasters every single year, and I've heard everything under the sun when it comes to someone being self-conscious about their voice. But I gotta tell you, you gotta do it anyway. If you wanna be a podcaster, I can't give you any tools to help you change your voice. That's the voice that you were born with. I can't change anything about that. But what I can do is give you a few tools to help you embrace your voice. Feel confident behind the mic so that you can sit there with your shoulders back and you feel very positive and confident about the message that you're delivering to your audience. And this brings me to point 3. You've got to be comfortable whenever you're recording. This is just a fun fact that I learned along the way because I was really uncomfortable whenever I was recording. I couldn't get my mic technique just right. I was really worried about having this certain sound because I was comparing myself to all of these other people that I had heard on podcasts. And they had amazing equipment, incredible sound studios. And I just kept thinking, I'm not good enough. This happens to so many of us. And I don't want that holding you back because you're telling yourself, I'm not that good. You're probably not going to be amazing at the beginning, and that's okay. This is why I tell you, record, listen back, record, listen back. But there's also another secret step in there, and it's called the delete key. Record, listen back, delete. If it's terrible, right? Like record, listen back, repeat, or delete. It doesn't mean just because you record something that you have to share it with the world. People on this channel, people that listen to my podcast, you do not hear everything that I create because sometimes it's just bad. Sometimes it is. Sometimes I have to re-record videos multiple times and you don't see everything that gets deleted and all the things that I record that I'm just like, this just isn't going to work. This was not a great piece of content. It's okay. Don't expect to be amazing right out of the gate. The key is to get started and start improving. So I want you to tell me in the comments if you've had an experience where you've recorded something that was solo, or maybe you can talk about a very particular experience whenever, or what it was like to record by yourself. Y'all, it's weird, it's awkward, embrace it. Let's just get over it and move on because we have important messages to share. And then the last thing I want to share with you is all about equipment. I get asked all the time about equipment. I want you to go watch this video right here because it is all for beginner podcasters, because I'm going to tell you to keep things simple. I'm going to walk you through every single piece of equipment I've used in my podcasting journey, what I use currently today. And I just want to remind you that you got to start somewhere, right? Like, don't compare what I use today if you're just getting started, or don't look at other podcasters, other people that are creating content and say, well, I can't get started until I have this or that. Y'all, I got started. You can see it right up here on this shelf. This $20 microphone is what I got started with. There's no settings. There's no fancy buttons on this thing. I plugged it into my laptop and I just got started recording. You could start on your phone. You could start on something as simple as something that you have around your house already, but the key is to just get started. So if you have any other questions about being a solo podcaster, I want to see them in the comments below, because solo podcasts are just something that we get questions about all the time on this channel, and I want to help you out as best as I can. But that's all I have for you today. So make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe below, that way you don't miss our future videos we put out every single week, all about podcasting and running your online business. Make sure you check out these other videos right here, all about podcasting and running your online business. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere.